Recently, the NFL changed the whole game of football because of concussions. And so if we can recognize that a quarterback getting hit one too many times by a 300-pound lineman over a period of time causes injuries, short-term and long-term issues, let's use that as a reference point, and then let's parlay that to what's happening in the military. Well, over the last 13 years on 2 battlefronts, we've asked this generation of all volunteer veterans and all volunteer military to go to combat time and time again. During these conflicts, the weapon of choice is the improvised explosive device. And you have to understand that if the veteran hasn't had a direct hit like I've had and sustained serious physical injury, a lot of times what's happening is their vehicles are getting hit. And they're getting hit by roadside bombs and mortar rounds and improvised explosion devices. And that's causing concussions. It's causing far greater concussions than any 300-pound lineman can impact on a quarterback. These are explosive devices that are 300,000 times stronger than any of those NFL linemen. And just like something in motion will stay in motion until acted upon by an outside force, if I get in a car accident and my vehicle hits a tree, there's several different impacts that are being made. My truck hits the tree, my body hits the steering wheel, and inside my skull, my brain is bouncing back and forth. Something very similar is happening with explosions. There's different pressures that are going in and out, and your brain and your hollow organs are expanding and then coming back in. And with that, it's causing damage. And if that happens enough times, it causes significant damage. That's some of the things that this generation's had to face with our conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, approximately how many veterans do we have here in Arizona that have come back from recent conflicts?
You know, it's hard to say how many veterans that have come back that are actually living here. There's some preliminary numbers that are out there. One of the things that the audience needs to know is that we have a huge veteran population here in Phoenix, Arizona. We have a 10% veteran population for the Phoenix metropolitan area as a whole. And if you look at those numbers, that gives us about 600,000 veterans in our local community.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So Operation Healing Journey is a program that was created to help fill the gap in veterans' transitional healing process. And what we've recognized is that combat is all-consuming, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And what we recognize is that we can help and aid the healing process by a simple approach, that we can recognize that our veterans are dealing with pain, recognize that our veterans are dealing with post-traumatic stress symptoms, recognizing that there's some cognitive deficits from the blast injuries, and then also recognize that there's a big part of isolation in our transition. So our approach is to create a customized healing calendar led by our Veterans Reintegration Specialist, where we find the resources from within the community to help with pain management, to help with post-traumatic stress symptoms, to get our veterans out of the house, out of those dark places, get them involved in outdoor recreational therapies, animal therapies, and alternative pain management therapies to help aid and assist them in their healing process. And ultimately what the program does is it empowers them to find the resources from within their community that they can put in their pocket for the rest of their lives and be the best that they can be as they heal and transition.
So Dominic, I assume when you came back, or you were in a pretty bad place, and through this integration process, it really has helped you in many different ways. Could you just tell us a little bit about how this program helped you?
Before I started in the programs, I pretty much was a hermit. I stayed in my room. I lived with my family because I had that fear of being alone, so I always had my family around me. I never went anywhere by myself. I couldn't go to Walmart without somebody from my family there, so that they could keep me anchored in case of any of my PTSD episode. But since I started the programs, I've been able to personally kind of get out of my shell and kind of go back to more of my personality that has been hidden because of the PTSD and the fear of being around people. But now I'm pretty much constantly busy. I'm constantly going. I'm running from appointment to appointment, whereas before, like I said, I never left my room. But now with the appointments, I'm becoming more sociable again, more social, and I'm just being able to get out there and really tell my story about how all this has helped me, and not only that, but to show how much it's helped me. I also go and get some physical healing from a chiropractor and acupuncture, which help alleviate some of the pains I have from the actual attack itself.
And in turn, this also helps other veterans who are coming in. And I guess I'm asking also, those of you that know former war heroes or people that came back from the military, maybe we can also share with them, if they live here in the area, how these groups have been helping to reintegrate them into society and make them more whole and more healthy.
Well, when I heard that Brian had to learn how to speak again, that impressed me, because he speaks so much better than any of us do. He must have worked terribly hard on that. And,
I had great speech therapist.
I'm quite sure that most of the audience has had some sort of trauma in their lives, the death of a close family member or friend, the loss of a limb from combat or accident or diabetes. The cause of that trauma is not always out there where we can all see it. Are there any events held to get our residents together with some of these young veterans to swap stories and maybe let them know that life is going to be okay?
Sure. There's a number of different ways we can help contribute. Obviously, the Honor House and Operation Healing Journey wants to fill the gap and wants to help and assist in the healing process. We obviously have our Christmas party that we're going to be doing in December. You can buy a ticket and be part of that event. And this Christmas party has been supported by Armed Forces Support Group and Sun City Grand since the inception. And what it is always intended to be is recognize those veterans that are coming home, that are transitioning, and give them a welcoming and warming place to celebrate Christmas and be the arms and the hands and feet of God and show love. And so we're going to be doing that Saturday, 13th December, right here in Sun City Grand, where we're going to be honoring our veterans and doing some fundraising to help with scholarship opportunities for Operation Healing Journey.
I'll be there.
Well, thank you. We look forward to seeing you.
What are some of your goals for the future, Brian?
Well, some of the goals we have for the future is Honor House is launching Operation Healing Journey. We want to serve 30 veterans next year. We are serving 15 this year. We have a quantified cost in creating our healing calendars for these veterans at $5,000 each. So for next year, we're hoping to serve 30 veterans and cover our costs and create healing calendars utilizing the resources from within the community and help these great Americans be the healthiest that they can be.
Absolutely. And Brian, where can we find out more about the Operation Healing Journey?
If you want to reach us at the Honor House, please go to www.thehonorhouse.org, and you can send us an email or you can reach out via phone as well.
I think I already like you on Facebook.
Oh, thank you so much. You can also like us on Facebook.
Well, Brian, I had no idea what post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury were, and I had no idea that these can affect anyone. Not just soldiers. They both sound very serious. Thank you for being on our show today. You're a wealth of information on this subject, and if you would like to know more about Brian, he has quite a few videos on YouTube. We hope that you're able to attend the Honor House Christmas party. I'll be there, which will be located right here in Sun City Grand in December.
Yep.
So what I have found out about this community is people are looking for ways to help. And when you provide that avenue, it's unbelievable the support you get, especially for our veterans.
So I think it's important to recognize that this generation of veterans is unique in itself. This generation has fought our nation's longest running conflict of 13 years on 2 battlefronts. We can't rely on algorithms of care that are from the Vietnam era. to solve the problems of this veteran generation. We have to find unique approaches and think outside the box in doing so. This generation has sacrificed greatly. There is no reason to make this generation sacrifice for 10, 20, 30 more years before we recognize the symptoms that this generation is facing. Let's help this generation heal by being proactive instead of reactive, and get them the tools and the resources that they need to be the best that they can be.
Well, Brian and Dominic, thank you again for sharing your story with us. And I have to say, both of you are great examples of veterans helping other veterans, and hopefully we in Sun City Grand can do our part to help you as well.
Absolutely. The spirit of America isn't dead. It's just coming home.
Thank you.